Yeah, I owe you a call. I haven't called you back yet. So, Shay, why don't you go first?
Are you guys ready for Villanova?
I don't know. I don't know. We're still in finals week, and we took off Sunday, practiced Monday, took off Tuesday, so we had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Obviously. But I think that we haven't played for a week, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be familiar with what they try to do. But to make it more complicated, though, is what they try to do is put their players in positions to make plays, and that's the hardest thing to guard because they force a bad closeout and then play behind a bad closeout. They are the best that I've seen at doing that. Run real subtle stuff to force a bad hedge or a closeout or a bad closeout, and then they're able to make the extra pass as well as anybody. So they're certainly not easy to prepare for.
Do you remember much about that last game you guys played against them up in Philly back in 05?
Yeah, I do. I actually got a refresher today. I actually read Athletic, and Dana O'Neill did a big story on that today, and it brought back a lot of fond memories. I didn't know they went on a 34-6 run the second half. We were up 4 at halftime, and they go on a 34-6 run. I think there was one walking call I disagreed with that totally changed that game. That's a joke. There's a lot of things that changed it, but it was a terrible weather deal. We got snowed in. We went back and to the hotel. We found a hotel, went back there, and had unpleasant Ebenezer Scrooge type Christmas time together, and then we all broke after that. But it was not a good trip.
How would you assess your three-point defense so far this year?
Numbers good. Numbers very good. Attempts poor. The thing about it, and I said this before, I do think there's a reason why teams shoot more threes against us because of our size and maybe Doak. I don't believe that we've done a good job of running teams off the line like we should, even though I think that we've done a decent job guarding it. But I feel like we need to do a better job of running guys off the line and make them play inside the arc a little bit more than what we have. But numbers-wise, what are we, about 30% or 29 or something like that? So I would have to think that probably ranks in the top 30 or 50 in the country. I don't know that for a fact, but so it hasn't been poor. And if you take away one game, it's been really good statistically, probably close to 25%. So, but opponents are taking too many. And Villanova's averaging 31 a game. We're giving up 28 a game. I mean, so you would think that this could be a game they could shoot 35 on us. So we got to do a better job running them off the line.
How has the extended three-point line affected your offense, whether it's opening more passing lanes to drive to the hoop or shot selection from perimeter?
I'll be honest. I don't think it's affected as much. I think what it does. I think good shooters it doesn't affect much. Average shooters it affects more than the good shooters, just because you're taking it out a foot further. I think that we were going to be a team that probably shot. I could be wrong on this, but we're about 33%. I think Jesse probably knows on three-point attempts this year, which is about what our teams have averaged in the past, with the exception of, when we had Devontae Frank and Speed and Malik and all those guys. So I don't think we're far off, but I don't think it's affected as much. I think we'd be playing the same way regardless if the line was where it was last year or now.
What have you seen from Jeremiah for Villanova? And what problems does he present?
Well, he's terrific. He's a 4-man that's playing the 5, and he's a skilled guy that's playing away from the basket. He's a basketball player. He can stretch it, and then of course he plays so hard and so sound, and he's an unbelievable free throw shooter. What's he averaging? 12 and 10 already, and I think he leads their team in minutes too. So we know Jeremiah well. We're happy for his success. Happy that he's doing well. I wish he wasn't where he's at, but we're doing okay here too. So it's probably worked out for him and very well, and he'll have a great career there.
Anything else?
You mentioned you need to run people off the 3-point line a little bit better. Does the strategy with that change game to game depending on matchups and that type of thing?
I don't think that you can change. You can change strategy a little bit game to game, maybe based on personnel and maybe what they do a little bit, tendencies. But I think just in general, regardless of who we're playing, we need to be a team that doesn't allow as many looks beyond the arc and make them play inside. I do believe that if everybody played inside, I'd like our chances. So we've got to do a better job of that regardless. But in this particular case, obviously, you've got to. The thing about it is, you do a good job running them off the line, which forces help, which forces a bad closeout. That's what they do. So I think you got to still run them off the line, but you got to keep the ball in front of you too.
How much better equipped is Devon this season than last season to handle the increased scoring role?
Well, I think it's a lot more. I think his confidence level's high. I think going through the NBA workouts and tryout, I think that was good for him. I think it was one of those situations where it gave him an exact idea of what he needs to do to get better and to put himself in a position to play for money at some point. And I also think he's hungrier to score than what he was last year. Last year, you're a point guard and you're just getting here and you need to do this, and this, and yeah, you want to score. I don't know that you're ever comfortable enough to allow yourself to have that mindset because you're just trying to survive some of the times. And he's past that right now. He's not trying to survive. He's been in attack mode.
Hey Bill, you mentioned a few times how you like your guys, or you like your players. I just wonder what goes into that for this particular team. Why is this a likable roster?
I think that they're respectful. I think that they're hardworking. I think that they're pretty responsible. I think they actually like each other. I think that they work, and I think it's a good mix. I think it's, we've always had great kids, don't get me wrong, but sometimes pieces just seem to fit better off the court than other times, and based on what everybody tells me, as they say, coaches, we all get along so well and everything. So I think that's they seem to play for each other for the most part, not always, but I think there's some good qualities that all good teams have, and we've got some of those.
Have you seen as much zone as you thought maybe you would?
No.
Through 10 games?
And to be honest, we've been better against the zone than a man. I mean, Marcus Garrett makes us that way. The teams that have played us zone, we've either shot it well when they went zone, like Colorado started zone because we went big, and David makes the first 3 shots. So we've had some good things happen when teams have played us zone. But I actually think we're, it doesn't mean you're always going to attack it right or whatnot, but I am surprised that teams haven't played us more, but we've actually attacked it fairly well whenever they have.
Do you have any idea why? Why? Is it just a comfort thing? You guys
I think Marcus Garrett is about as good as I've coached as far as getting in gaps and making plays. He does some subtle things that makes the game a lot easier for everybody else. And if you watch us when we've been good against the zone, he's been in the game. So I think that's probably as much of it as anything.
I also wanted to just get your thoughts on, I know Villanova has history going back to Raleigh and the whole stuff, but this rise that they've been on over the last 8-10 years, whatever it is, I mean, have you seen much like that in college basketball, to get a team coming out of nowhere like that and then sustain it like they have?
I mean, Gonzaga, plus you add 2 national championships to it. I mean, it's great. Somebody asked me today, Jay's looked at differently now that he's won national championships, and I think coaches would beg to differ on that, because coaches have always known. He's good. I mean, he's good, he's tough, and guys play the right way, and they compete. I mean, they play hard, and we'll get an unbelievable effort Saturday. But what they did over, we can brag about what we did over like a 5-year period, where at that time I think we won the most games in the history of the NCAA. But what they did in their period exceeded that. I think they had the most wins over a 4 or 5 year period of any team in the history of basketball, and they won 2 national championships during that period. So, I mean, what they did obviously is going back to Duke in the early '90s with Leitner and Hurley and those guys and Grant. It's very impressive, and they're going to continue to be good, and they should be. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't be. They'll continue to be good as long as the same people are in place.
Bill, going back to Nova's game against Baylor, can you just talk about what enabled Baylor to be successful, and also from a Baylor standpoint, since you'll play them 2.5 weeks after this game?
Well, the thing that, Baylor is good. I mean, Baylor's a top 11, should be a top 10 team, and they're good. And that was 2 good teams playing, and it was a coin flip game. Could have gone either way. And Baylor made some plays late, but I think what's different about Baylor this year, they're playing man. They're only sprinkling in zone, where in the past they sprinkled in man. And it was a very good game, and 2 teams that are very good, that have very good guards and are capable of going and getting their own. And I thought it was a good basketball game. I thought both teams played well. It's just one team had to win.
Are you seeing improvement from David at defending the 3, and what does he still need to do there?
Yeah, well, we all need to continue to do that better each and every day for the next 4 months or 3 months, however long it is. But I do see improvement. I do. And, it's amazing to me when you get better offensively. Usually it pumps some energy in you defensively too, and I do see his effort's always been great. He's terrific. But I do see maybe a more focused effort, maybe an effort to push himself to know that this is what he really needs to do, and it's a lot easier to have that mindset whenever things are going well on the other end, and things have gone well for him shooting the basketball, even in practice. I mean, he's been pretty good. So, got to get better. Silvio's got to get better. Where on the flip side of that, Silvio hasn't seen as many positive things happen. So even though he's trying as hard, maybe his energy or enthusiasm ain't quite as turned up as what David's is right now. But they both have to play with that type of energy in order to be able to defend a 3, because that's not what they do.
You've mentioned a handful of times the unsung things that Marcus Garrett can do. What does that mean to you as a coach to have a guy that's going to stick in and put up stats wherever you need him to go? Well,
it's not like it's we determined before the game, this is what you need to be doing, or he just knows how to play. He can figure it out, whatever the situation calls for. But all the good teams that we have had here that have had success have had guys that are considered glue guys. Travis Relaford, Kevin Young, unbelievable glue guys. Landon Lucas, unbelievable glue guy. So we've had guys like that in the past, but I think that he takes it to another level, because as good as others have been defensively, I don't know that we've had anybody that guards like him since I've been here. And we've had some good defenders, but I don't think we've had anybody better than him.
Since the game is at noon, will the guys get a head start on their travels for Christmas?
Yeah, I don't have all their schedules, but it is better than playing at 8 p.m., so they have to wait till the next morning to fly out. But all our guys will fly out after the game from Philly to their respective destinations. So everybody should be home on the 21st and then coming back on the 26th. So technically 4 days off, but what's that? Is that 5 nights? So yeah, 5 nights. So that'll be good for those guys. Is that right, Dave? Are you counting right? Am I counting right? Yeah. I notice you using your fingers too.
Will you address the number 1 ranking? 4 teams have already had it and lost it.
And there will be a 5th at some point in time. I mean, everybody loses. I mean, and I wouldn't spend much time on that either. at all. It is kind of eerie though. Last year we were ranked number 1 when we played Villanova, if I'm not mistaken. We just got it, right?
Yeah.
And then we were ranked number 1 when we went to Villanova in 2005, almost on the exact same date. So one of them worked out, one of them didn't. But I won't make a big deal out of that. It's too early to be doing that. I wouldn't do it even late. As long as you just want to be in the game and hopefully play your best when it counts the most.
What have you seen from Udoka as far as leadership? He had a moment out there the other day in Sprint Center where, I mean, he got after Christian a little bit. It just seems like maybe he's more comfortable in that role this year. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah. It's his last go around, and he's been told for 3 years about what leadership looks like and that kind of stuff. And he's trying. I mean, he's growing up. People still forget. Has Doak turned 20 yet? Did he just turn 20? I mean, he's still young, but he's done great. His effort in practice, which is a great way to be a leader, is also by example. It's just been incredible. And the other thing that he has done is when things don't go well, he speaks his mind. Where before he's always held his own cards close to the vest. So I'm proud of him for that. He has improved.
Is there anything you particularly admire about what Jay's teams do, or what Jay's been able to do when it comes to X's and O's?
Yeah, I think that they play as hard as anybody, and they fly around. Watching the game here last year, that was 2 hard playing teams play here last year. They guard, they don't beat themselves. But what I think that they do the best job of is not running plays, but allowing players to be players. They do a great job of footwork. They do a great job of pivoting. They do an unbelievable job of doing some things that maybe people stress, but not at the level that they do. And it is the way that they play. And all 5 being threats, it forces them all to be players. And so Jeremiah playing the 5, there's nothing for him to catch a beyond the arc, shot fake, and go force help, and then penetrate a pitch. That's what that team that they had that won in 18 did so good. They had 5 guys you had to guard everywhere, and I think that's something that they do as good a job as anybody as far as all 5 spots being basketball players. Like with us, if they had Dope, they wouldn't play that way probably, but with us, we can't play that to that extreme that way. And we take pride in guys making plays and being able to play behind the play as opposed to running plays. And they do a terrific job with that. All their guards post, all their guards can drive it, all their guards, all their big shoot threes. I mean, they do a good job of flipping the floor in a way that makes you guard everywhere.
Anything else?